Hello everyone, welcome to Scorcher Toys at AnyMoon.com's review of Yamato's Do You Remember Love Super/Strike parts and TV Super parts for the Yamato V2 VF1 toy. This also includes the Arcadia Strike parts since they've purchased the mold and have been issuing Strike parts with their most recent Fokker release. Inside the box, you got the Super/Strike parts with the Do You Remember Love version. That means there's an extra missile boom, so if you didn't want to have the strike cannon attached, you can just have two missile booms, thus making it a super version. You also got reaction missiles, stickers, and instructions. The TV set is all the same good stuff, except there is no strike cannon. You only have the two missile booms for a super version. So what differentiates the TV version from the Do You Remember Love version? Primarily, it's the Forearm Armors. On the left, we have the Do You Remember Love type. The right is the TV type. The other big distinction here is the color white. Yamato used kind of a gray for their white when they did Do You Remember Love releases, and a very bright white for TV releases. So here you can see the difference in tone. Arcadia is going with the bright white for everything. Reaction missiles also have that same tone of white carryover, so it's kind of a gray on the Do You Remember Love version and a bright white on the TV version. If you're hoping for different colored tips on the TV version, Yamato definitely let you down there. Now, like the 148 toys, the Yamato Super parts have a nice little accessory feature that they let you pop off armor plates on the back of the leg. So here you have all of this nice detail. Look at those nozzles, very nice. You have the same ability also when it comes to the missile booms. And this is my biggest gripe, is that these missile booms, this connection here is a little too loose. It comes off too easily. Inside you can see the micro missiles. Now, unlike Yamato's 148 toy, the micro missiles here are molded in and already painted. They're not removable. Yamato on the 148 toy made you pop these missiles off a sprue and install them. Not so this time. And of course, as I mentioned earlier, you can remove the strike cannon and install a second missile boom if you were so inclined. So there you have your missile detail. Digging deeper, we can go ahead and pop off this armor piece as well. On there pretty good, so you don't have to worry about it popping off accidentally on you. There you go. So that is off, and now here is the detail within. Also very nice. And this rear booster is on a ball joint, so you can angle that however you like. Alright, let's go ahead and put these parts on a toy. We're going to go over installation in Batroid mode, but you can do it in any mode. Gearwalk is just as easy as Batroid mode, if not easier. And fighter mode, you just have to drop the legs down, so there's one more step. But it's clean in Batroid mode, so let's take a look. The arm armor. There's a slot. It just goes right onto it. Now after you get it on there, you'll normally find one isn't on all the way. So just rock and pinch, and that gets it nice and secure. The leg armor, you want to get both pegs kind of going at the same time. There's a hook peg that's towards the bottom, two slots in the back of the leg. Line them up. Like I said, if you could do them both at the same time, it's a little bit easier. And you're going to apply pressure inward. Let's see here, there we go. And it will snap into place. Two fat pegs on the side leg armor. You can just corresponding slots. Line them up, and again another nice snapped into place sound. The backpack armor is the hardest bit. It has changed from the 148. The 148, you just pegged each booster into the side of the backpack. You see those holes right there. For 160 V2 that is, there is now a cradle that goes underneath the backpack. And it goes on the sides. And that supports everything when you're in position, but it does make getting the backpack on a little harder. So what you need to do, open up your wings, and then you need to pull apart on the boosters as you slide them up. Now you need to, you'll feel a little groove in there, and then the boosters will peg into the backpack just like the 148s used to do, like so. And there, now we've got it. Now you can see I've got a loose missile cover, but there you go. So there you are. Everything is on the toy now. We are ready to go. Just close those wings back up, and you have a Batroid mode, Super or Strike toy. I mentioned the new cradle that comes along the side and really locks the backpack into place. And because of that, it stays. It's not going anywhere. Now, the Yamato V2 toys do have the ability to recess this trap door here and then bring a hook forward and really just pinch everything super tight against the back. I don't recommend doing it. I don't really see any advantage to doing it. I mean, certainly you can recess this trapdoor. You're not really hurting anything. But if you use the hook and pinch it tight, you do two things. One, you eventually loosen up the hook so it doesn't stay up in fighter mode anymore. And two, you'll create little pressure points on your tail fins. So my advice to you is don't use that hook. You don't need it. It's gratuitous, and your toy is going to be just fine without it. All right, we're in fighter mode. We're ready to put our reaction missiles on. Here they are. You've got your double set or your single set. They do have attachment pieces that can be separated from the actual missile, and you might find that useful because Yamato on their V2 toys, if you're familiar with them, actually has a twist mechanism on the hard points. Not my favorite attribute of the Yamato V2 toys, but it made sure that those missiles stayed on super duper well. So you put your missile on, cocked off to one side, and then twist it on to be in the right position. So it's easy when you got one missile on the wing, but when you have several you're trying to line up, it can be a bit of a pain in the butt. So again, you might want to just take off the actual missile from the attachment piece to help you out, or, obviously it's doable. So there you go. Reaction missiles on the toy. The gun has just enough clearance. It'll lean down a little in the front, and then that will cause it to drag a little bit around the muzzle on the ground. But otherwise, everything's super sturdy on there. Doesn't detract from the fun of the toy in fighter mode. So high marks there. Obviously, the Do You Remember Love version, like I said, a little off color. White from the TV version, a little off color blue from the TV version. Everything else is absolutely the same, locked on there, just as sturdy. And again, no problem rolling on the ground with that gun attached. Now the Do You Remember Love Super Strike version definitely seems like the better buy because you can swap out that strike cannon and make it a super part. Here is the TV super parts. You can see there's a slightly different blue. So if you had a shelf with a whole bunch of mixed ones, it would be obvious which ones are Do You Remember Love and which ones are TV version. If you just have one set you're buying, you can get the Do You Remember Love version. You'll know that the Forearm Armors are different. Most people would not know that. The reaction missiles, yeah, they're a little gray, but I don't know that in real life every missile is perfectly paint matched to a fighter jet. So I don't know it's that big of a deal, honestly. So the difference, pretty minor when you just have one or two. Obviously, if you had a Do You Remember Love squad and only one of them had TV super parts, it would stick out. If you're diorama building, here's what it looks like when you have the armor off of the toy, revealing the detail underneath. You can obviously do the same on both sides. I'm just doing one side to kind of give you an idea of what it would look like. And obviously, fighter and Batroid mode, same idea. Super and strike parts look great on the toys in Gear Walk mode. A couple things to note though. The extra weight that you've added to the feet might cause some instances where the intakes will come unpegged a little bit more easily as you handle the toy. Also, you won't be able to open the trap door when you transform to Batroid mode. Because of that, it's best to just pop the head off and put the head back on when you get to Batroid mode. So you don't really have that perfect transformation. You'd either have to remove the super parts or remove the head. Otherwise, everything handles great and looks great, and let's continue on to Batroid mode. A couple quick tips for Batroid mode. If you're having problems keeping it standing, make sure your feet are recessed as much as they can be. There's also a recess point at your knees. That helps shore up the toy. Also, at the hips, you might want to use one gearwalk joint. Peg that forward just a little bit. That would look like a VF0 in Batroid mode. It's hard to tell that you've done it. It does add some support. Makes the toy a little bit easier to handle. Obviously, the strike cannon in this mode can come down. There's a little pivot action right there. So that's very nice, obviously very necessary. And otherwise, definitely sprucing up your toys. You can see the TV version, there's no strike cannon. There's nothing really to say in this mode, other than, again, those stability tips. So, overall, Super Strike parts add to the visual presentation. They stay on super securely in every mode. And I am a big fan and highly recommend them. Go find yourself some. Check out my full review on anymoon.com. And as always, thanks for watching.